I wrote mine just now over there.
I wrote mine down too.
Oh, better type things. I tried to write too fast.
All right.
Just make it up. So many.
And, yeah,
Really anything.
Randy is right over there. Come join us.
Wait, I don't know anything about mowing or plowing or like.
No,
Well, I mean, no.
It's actually one. It literally is. It's literally one row back. Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the May 2nd Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee meeting. Our first order of business is stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you, everyone. The second item is the approval of the agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda as presented, either by committee members or staff? Any changes? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to pass the agenda as stands.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item agenda is we're very excited to welcome our two new committee members, yay, Randy Bailey and Jess Smith. So if we can take a moment here, and would you please kind of introduce yourselves and a little bit about your background and history in Apple Valley, that would be great. Randy, we can start with you.
I'm Randy Bailey. I've been a resident of Apple Valley for about 30-some years now. I spent my career as a high school math teacher at Rosemont High School and then Eastview High School when it opened in '97. I do a lot of volunteer work around the community now that I'm retired, including serving as co-chair along with Jess of the Yes for AV Parks Committee this past fall, which sort of piqued my interest, and here I am today.
Great, welcome. We're very excited to have you.
Thanks.
Jess?
Hi, my name is Jess Smith. I've been in the area for 20 years now. I raised both of my kids. I've got one a sophomore at up in Duluth, and my other just is graduating from SES, and he'll join her in Duluth in the fall. I love the area. I've worked all over the city, but I've chosen to stay here with my family. About 10 years ago, I started volunteering through the EVAA group and had the pleasure of running that board for a couple of years, and got to work on some referendum stuff and thought it was cool, so thought I'd keep going. So happy to be here.
Again, welcome, Jess. And again, thank you both for all your help with the referendum process as well, and getting that information out to the voters so they can vote their opinion and pass the referendum. So thank you. Next on the agenda is the audience participation time. And this is the time where there's about 10 minutes for people to come down, come visit us, share any thoughts, concerns, issues that you have with anything in the Parks and Rec system. We really encourage people to come down and talk with us. We take that information seriously and consideration and work with staff on issues. So please, there's nobody in the audience today, but again, please come down and see us and share your input and feedback. We'd love to hear it. Next item on the agenda is approval of the April 2024 minutes. And is there any changes, additions to the minutes as presented from either the staff or committee members?
None.
All right. Hearing none, I know that I'm going to ask for some abstentions. So is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the April 2024 minutes as presented.
Thanks, Dave. Is there a second?
Second that.
All right, so first I'm going to ask for, are there any abstentions? There's 2 abstentions, Randy and Jess. Okay, noted. And then all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The minutes are approved. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have some updates. It looks like Bill and Nick. Starting with Nate.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. Nate Rosa, the Recreation Superintendent here. Bill Bird couldn't be with us tonight, so I'm going to fill in with him for a little bit. So bear with me as we go through some of the slides that he put together. I reviewed it earlier, but I will not do justice as Bill probably would have to this. So Bill's in charge of our youth and family programming and special events. And he's been here for numerous years. He's very well versed in what we do here. So we'll go through some of this. To the topics that he wants us to discuss are youth and family programs, the Little Orchard Preschool program, our special events, our partnerships, and then a glance at summer. Here are the different programs that he oversees here, if you take the time to look through that. One of our more popular ones on here is the music for Music in Kelly Park, and then our Papa Wagon that we do throughout the summer. Here are some of the program offerings that we do, all the way from little types of programs called Little Chefs, our Little Orchard Preschool program, our day trips, and then looking at some of our more holiday-themed events with Halloween, Christmas, and Easter programs. Some of the recreation programs that he oversees is some of our holiday programs with the Skate with Santa, Bowl with Santa, and a few other of the Easter ones that we talked about earlier. This is our Little Orchard Preschool program. This is where we have anywhere between 10 and 15 youth with us throughout the day on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for 2.5 hours a day on there. And it's an entry level, if you will, preschool program. It's meant for socializing and then learning some of the basics here that get them prepared for preschool and school. Some collaboration partners through Source, so that is south of the river recreators, and that's all of our cohorts here in the different cities around us. We do a whodunit hike and a ground pounders race series, and that just entails a bunch of the different races throughout the different communities. Like we said, one of the more popular ones here is Music in Kelly Park. We do partner with the Apple Valley Arts Foundation on this. They are pinnacle to that program being successful. They help set it up, help run it, help pick the bands, help finance it and fund it as well. So they're a very big presence at this program, and we enjoy working with them. They do have their schedule ready to go for the summer. You can see that online on their webpage, or we also have it in our newsletter with a QR code, so you can take a picture of that, and it'll get you the entire list of what's going on for that. Youth and Family Open Gyms. You can see some of our attendance that we do from 23 to 24. And then we have a preschool open gym, a youth open gym, and a family open gym. And one of the things that we did really well this year is we tried to make this more one of the premier programs that's available when there's no school in session. And we've changed that for over the holiday break as well as our spring break, just to make sure that we are open to the public and giving the youth a place to go on here. That change has been well received from the public. The youth have been super happy that that's occurred, and you can see that numbers are holding strong here, and we only anticipate that. I mean, we're only through April here on that 2024, and so we will definitely hit our numbers as we've done in the past. We do have some community-wide special events. I know this is not the preview to summer part in here, but we did host our Trunk or Treat, and we did have our Midwinter Fest here, and that doubled in size from the previous year. And then we added some more, programs that went on there. We had a bunch of mascots out there this year. We did multiple horse rides on it, and we had a new feature with our fireworks program to the south there. But we kind of changed how that setup was run, and then ended up being a pretty good show that we had. And look forward to that same type of setup when we get to our Freedom Days Fireworks Festival as well. And then the summer sneak peek preview. So if you look through here again, our other big stuff is our playground program, our indoor-outdoor camps, the Papa Wagon like we talked about, and then just a few other things here if you take the time to look through here. We try to hit the wide gamut of all the different sports activities and art programs as well to make sure that we're hitting all the needs of our patrons. One of the last things that we did here is we wrote a grant. Bill headed out this. It was with the St. Paul Area Associations of Realtors, along with the Apple Valley Arts Foundation and ourselves. We were awarded a $1,000 community arts grant that will help go towards the Music in Kelly Park and then fund some of the other music that we're trying to do throughout the summer. Any questions on that?
What I didn't see in there was the Park and Rec program. Has that been done away with?
Which Park and Rec program?
Where you have the high school kid or the college kid go to various parks and kids from the neighborhood come in and.
So our playground program, we do actually have that. So that is in there. We
Playground program.
Yep, it's called our playground program for that.
Okay, got it.
And we have some day camps that occur with that as well, throughout some different parks and over at our Apple Valley Community Center.
Okay. We always just call it Park and Rec, so.
No worries. And then just because we have some new committee members here today, just want to, showcase we're all going to showcase some of the things that we cover and go over. For myself here, my team's comprised of Sharon Lemke, who oversees all of our senior programs and the rentals that occur in that senior and event center. Bill Bird, and we went through all of his programs here, so our special events and our youth programs. Steve Skinner, who also does a lot of our indoor building rentals, along with both of our aquatic facilities that we have. So he does all the hiring there, the day-to-day work on it. And then Nick Thompson, who will speak here shortly, so I will not talk about what he does. He does a better job than I do, so we'll let him go for that. Just letting everyone know here too that we are near full staff through our playground program and both of our aquatic facilities. So we're looking forward to ramping up for the summer on that. That falls underneath my purview. And then we are making progress on our new skate park. We're looking to have some information for the committee here coming up here in the next few months, do some public engagement, get a design down, and then move forward from there. We're also working diligently with both of our athletic associations to try and do some of the facility upgrades. They were a huge part of the referendum passing, so we want to make sure that we're meeting their needs and getting some things done and upgrades that would facilitate their programs. And then a handful of other things I do, but I'll keep it short, simple, sweet, and we will talk to Nick next. Are there any questions for me?
Yeah, question you mentioned, I saw on there you had a up-and-coming food truck festival.
Yep.
Is that something new?
So that one is new. We're working towards that right now. We're trying to do a fall food truck festival. We're earmarking Kelly Park for that. Bill is working on that himself with some help. We're trying to partner with the Apple Valley Arts Foundation to move one of their current concert nights they have to that night. But we're looking for a handful of food trucks for that and a few other events at that program.
Thank you.
Nate, I have a question for you. Can you talk a little bit about kind of how the attendance has been for these programs over the last couple of years? Are they kind of going up? If you can talk a little bit about the attendance, and then if you can share a little bit about kind of pricing strategies for, just talk a little bit for youth and family and how that works. Kind of, I know it's different with the different programs, and there's a lot of things that are free. So if you can maybe talk a little bit about those two things, I think that would be great.
Sure. So attendance-wise, obviously, we're starting back from zero when COVID occurred. So we're not quite to the numbers where we were on some of our programs prior to COVID, but we have met or exceeded those numbers in some of our other programs. Slowly trying to build those back up. It depends on the program itself. I don't have all the numbers with me being newer here. I couldn't tell you what they were from a few years ago, so my apologies. I don't have that ready to go for you. But we are also keeping our finger on the pulse to figure out what programs we have been working and what programs have not been working. So we're trying to add more of the programs that are working, and we are looking towards doing a study as well that's going to help guide us what we're going to do that in the future, especially with the additions of the facilities for some of our buildings. And then the second part of your question was, my apologies.
Pricing structure.
So pricing structure on there, we look at what's going on around in all the other communities and try and base our prices off of that. We do know that some of those programs do need to be kept at a certain price on there. Take our two aquatic parks, for instance. There is a upcharge over at the Family Aquatic Center versus over at Redwood Pool. So knowing the user groups that come into those different types of facilities, that's what would determine as what we're going to charge or not charge. You take those youth and family open gyms; those are free. And it's one of those things. The youth open gym is right after school, so we have a bunch of latchkey kids that need a place to go. We have a lot of them that come over to us, and so that's a community need that needs to be at that free price point. For the other programs, we work with our finance department to make sure that we're hitting our revenue marks or doing the best we can to hit our revenue marks, and we will increase fees for the programs that we think can handle it. But some of those other fees will have to toe the line and keep them where they're at.
One of the things I'm noticing with some other communities, not maybe a lot, but people or cities are making some of their, specifically with their youth and family programs, free, or especially for residents. And so I appreciate that we do have reasonable prices and a lot of free opportunities, and would like to keep encouraging us to look at that direction to make sure everybody can come and take advantage of the programs.
We'll definitely keep that in mind. Note, we did something this past summer over the holiday break. Our ice rinks were not up to par at all outdoors. So we did offer some free, open rink time inside the Hayes Arena there, where families are coming and able to enjoy that. So those are the type of programs that, when they fit, we will go down that path and make sure that we offer them.
Ways back, they used to do music out at the golf course. Is that going to be coordinated again? Is that happening again?
So we have not had that discussion lately. I know with Kelly Park, that's kind of the place that we want to house at. I know we're looking at a redo of Kelly Park and potentially a larger band shell there with a stage. We're looking to do that in stages and segments too, so we can kind of leave different parts open so that we wouldn't miss the opportunity to continue those programs there. Always open to see what can occur at the different facilities, but depends on user groups. Jim would probably speak better to what would work at the golf course and myself, but yes, we do look at different options in other programs that we've offered, and do we bring them back or not?
Okay, thanks.
Has Frozen Apple, to some extent, taken over what used to be those indoor concerts at Valleywood? Frozen Apple is your winter indoor concert series for the city?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then with Frozen Apple being over at Bogart's, it's, the facility's set up for it too. It's, they've got all the sound, lighting systems, everything. And so it's a very good venue. It's a good partnership with the city as well. So yes, that has helped us there.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
you.
Nate. Next is Nick Thompson. Talk about the athletics in the fields and all that great stuff.
All right, Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Nick Thompson. I'm I'm a recreation supervisor. Focus areas are Youth Athletic Association liaison. I do a lot of adult athletic leagues, clinics, and things like that, as well as the field permits for private renters, as well as our local Youth Athletic Association partners. And with that said, we'll start with them. So a couple of familiar EVAA and VAA faces on this committee itself. They do a great job for the youth in Apple Valley, and we're happy to help them out. Just to name a few, VAA, EVAA are the two big ones. Fusion softball is a combination of all of Apple Valley to kind of bring it together for fast pitch. Firehawk lacrosse, as well as Legion baseball. To give you an idea of the scope, we have 94 permitted fields this spring, summer, 4,500 plus athletes. That's just in the outdoor athletic realm. Doesn't touch on what we do indoors at the Apple Valley Community Center. And then roughly 12,000 plus hours of Youth Athletic Association field use annually. And then they put on 7 tournaments in town. Brings a lot of people into town. They do a great job, and we're happy to help them out. Moving on to the field rentals and tournaments. We rent, when the fields are not in use by the local youth athletic associations, we rent them out to private rentals or tournaments. That can include adult baseball teams, soccer teams, club youth baseball and softball, soccer leagues, as well as tournaments. Most of those activities are at our primary athletic complexes, including Johnny Cake, Ridge Park East, West, and Quarry Point, as you may know. We anticipate 22 plus multi-facility tournaments in the 2024 season, so most of the weekends we have something going, every weekend we have something going on at the parks, sometimes multiple tournaments happening at the same time. Brings a lot of people into town and a lot of revenue to our local economy. Speaking of revenue, in 2023, we were over $135,000 in field rental revenue, and that's a 37% increase over the previous year. And it's not on my slide, but I actually wanted to give a shout out to the Park and Recreation Maintenance Department. I work with them on the daily. They do an excellent job in the fields, and I couldn't do it without them. So, a little plug for them.
The next, on that last slide there, is the increase in revenue due to price increase or additional use?
Mostly additional use. We try to increase prices roughly it depends on inflation, depends on what our costs are, but 3 to 5% is probably a rough estimate. Yeah, most of that is an increased use
Right.
through either more tournaments coming into town or might be some more field availability. Some clubs have been using the Johnny Cake East fields a little bit more as well.
Thank you.
Is there a difference in cost to rent an adult field versus a youth field?
We have 3 different categories. Category A is essentially the Youth Athletic Association category, and they get very heavily discounted fields. They only pay for the tournament use and then some of the portable toilets that we have out to service their programs. There's a resident rate. We try to keep it reasonable for residents, and then there's the non-resident and private association rate.
Okay.
Nick, what's your projected revenue for 2024?
You're going to make me guess, but I'll do it.
Guess is good.
Roughly, just based off of the returning tournaments, the scope of what they've been booking, it'll be roughly a 10% increase over that number.
Cool.
Off the top of your head, the resident rate?
We don't get a ton of residents. Are you asking for the resident rate for the field itself, or
Yeah.
off the top of my head, I want to say it's $30 an hour for a field.
Not bad.
Yeah,
And I think that's all on the website too, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, all that information is on the website.
yeah.
Keep going.
All
You're on a roll.
So moving on to adult athletics, we run softball program, one of the bigger softball programs in the metro, with 104 teams in 2023. We offer summer as well as a fall season. Kickball is out at Johnny Cake East as well. Summer and fall season there. Nate touched on the SOAR community. We try to collaborate on some of these leagues that it's pretty tough for every community to have a kickball league, but together we can try to put one together, and that's kind of how that works out. Beanbags has been a league that has been kind of shot up over the last couple of years. We run indoor leagues at the Apple Valley Community Center October through May, and then we have outdoor leagues at Johnny Cake, Ridge Park East during the warmer months, June through October. We had 128 teams in 2023. We'll probably have roughly the same in 2024. We finally stopped the exponential, gigantic growth and it's plateaued out a little bit. But really great numbers and teams on there. And then a new league that we're actually offering, we had a bunch of free agents sign up, individuals that wanted to play. So I worked with with my evening staff to put together an individual league where they sign up and have various partners throughout the evening and are able to participate in a league as an individual in a team format. Volleyball, we have a huge volleyball program. Sand leagues are offered 5 nights a week out at Johnny Cake, Ridge Park East. Where we really shine, though, is our indoor leagues, 4 nights a week at the Apple Valley Community Center. We have 381 teams in 2023. That's up 13% from 2022 and 83% from 2021. The program continues to take off and just continuing in its upward trend on that front. Anticipating a similar 10-ish% increase in 2024 based on early numbers as well. Another thing we added in 2023 was some volleyball skills clinics for adults. Had somebody approach us wondering if that would be a good thing to try out. We tested it, and we've had a big wait list for most every session that we've ran since. We will have at least double, maybe triple those numbers in 2024.
Oh, great.
And then the free agent list is actually something that a bunch of communities have, but we've had really good luck with it here in Apple Valley. The original intent was if you want to play softball, but you don't have 12, 15 people that want to play softball with you, how are you going to play? So I worked with the IT department. They connected me with an online software. It just intakes all of your information. You put your name, your contact information, the sports you're interested in, the level that you want to play at with those particular sports. And then it puts it into a big database that I have access to. We had 287 individuals in the past 365 days sign up, so it's a really commonly used thing. It obviously helps out those individuals that want to play. And then I have a team call me that says, hey, I need a forfeit tonight. we're short a guy and a girl for the volleyball team. And I say, well, I've got a list of 80 people that would love to be that person. So it's a good connection service. You heard me mention a pretty high number though, so it ended up, what it's kind of evolved into, it still provides a service, that connection service, but we've also been creating teams strictly off of that free agent list. So I'll reach out to one of the free agents, find somebody who's motivated and willing to try to piece a team together. We allow them to sign up as individuals for 1 year just to get a team up and going. And we've had 22 teams formed just strictly off of that free agent list, which has been great to get people. It boosts our team numbers, it boosts the number of people that are able to play. It's kind of a win-win all the way around.
I think it's great in the community building, that just playing with your neighbors and getting to know each other is wonderful too.
Yep. And then one piece that I haven't kept track of, but it's actually saved teams as well. So I might call Craig and say, are you going to sign up this year for softball or whatever it is? And you're like, nah, I'm 2 players short. And I was like, well, funny that you need 2 players because I have a list of 50 people long that want to play. So I haven't kept track of how many of the teams it has saved, but it has definitely saved some teams from folding. Adult basketball, most of this has been in 2023. We did a big overall in 2024, but I wanted to touch on it on this presentation. COVID was tough on our basketball program. So we had six-ish teams. I try to continue to inject new teams, and 3 teams would add, 3 teams would drop. We're just kind of struggling. So to use that connection that we have with some of the SOAR communities, I called up Egan, my counterpart in Egan, and said, hey, is there a way that we can work together instead of against each other? So we both had Wednesday leagues. They kept bopping back and forth between my league and their league, or our league and their league. So we decided to run collaborative leagues where we can both take registrations. Egan offers that, or Egan hosts, I should say, that Wednesday league. We offered a new Sunday league, Sunday evenings at the Apple Valley Community Center, which was underutilized time. It's the early results that have shown that it was a really good move. It worked out really well. We had 13 teams registered through Apple Valley for the 2 leagues. 27 total teams in winter 2024. Spring, we didn't even offer a league in the past. We decided to piece one together based on the high numbers of teams in winter. Ended up with 8 Apple Valley teams, 20 teams total between the 2 communities. So it's really taken off. We're going to see if it works in the fall as well.
Nice job.
And then, of course, we can't not talk about pickleball. We offer lessons year-round. We had 162 participants in 2023. One area of big growth in there has actually been the intro to pickleball clinics, just the one, the single night, 2-hour clinic that we offer. We tried just a couple of those in 2023. We're offering a lot more in 2024 because there was a large wait list for all of them. We run some tournaments as well. I do one in-house tournament, and then we worked with Rotary to host their tournament, which is a very big success. I'm seeing some head nods. Maybe you might be involved. They did a great job. We were happy to have them at the complex. We offered new leagues in spring, summer, and fall 2023. Most of those, every evening league filled in 2023. The daytime league had a couple of openings. We tripled the offerings in 2024 and basically had a similar situation where we have a wait list for just about every evening league. One thing that we're trying to be careful with, though, with that is there's people that want to just have open play, and there's people that want to play in a league. So while we did triple the offerings, we didn't block any additional days. We just offered additional times for a league. So there might be a league at the start at 5:30 and 7 instead of just at 6 o'clock. And then open pickleball in the community center. We'll touch more on that in a second, as well as court rentals at the community center. Pickleball's a big deal, as we all know, right? Adult open gyms. Nate touched on some of the youth and family open gyms. They've been super popular. Our adult program is as well. We have volleyball, badminton, pickleball, and then a noon hour open basketball program. With all of those combined, we had over 15,000 admissions in 2023. That's up 50% from the previous year. They're all very, very popular programs, and it's great to see the gyms packed just about every night that they're offered. Then we offered some additional holiday break hours. The youth and family open gym has been super well received. I tried to offer some additional open gyms in between seasons. So a fall season might wrap up in the middle of December. We have an opportunity to offer 2 weeks of open gym in between, that kind of dead zone between the fall and the winter season. So those have been fairly well received as well. And with that, there's been a couple of questions, but I'm happy to take any more if you have any.
Any questions?
I think you've done a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, again, wonderful offerings and getting really creative to not just keep the programs going, but it sounds like actually thriving and creating more interest. So
We've been trying
again,
hard. It's great to have things work out every now and then.
I know.
And take off. So,
Great work.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. All right, next on our agenda is a Parks referendum update. I'm guessing that's you, Eric.
Yeah, Madam Chair, members of the committee, just a quick update with things going on with the referendum. We'll talk about the Hayes Ice Arena. Mentioned in the informal that we have poured the new floor. Refrigeration equipment will start getting installed next week with dashers by the end of May. And we plan to have the rink up and operating again for skating activities by June 10th. So that project is on par and on schedule, and we're excited to be wrapping that up. We have some open houses scheduled. Tuesday, May 14th, we'll be inviting folks to come and talk with us about Redwood Park. We've mailed out notices to people that live around Redwood Park. We've got information on our website and social media sites about the open house. But anyways, Tuesday, May 14th, if people want to come and talk about Redwood Park, we'll be at the Apple Valley Community Center from 6 to 7:30, and they can give us some of their thoughts and ideas about Redwood Park and our plans to update and replace some of the amenities found in Redwood Park. Then the next evening, Wednesday, May 15th, we'll hold another open house. This time the focus will be on the youth baseball softball complex and improvements being made at the Hayes Park complex. Again, that meeting will be on Wednesday, May 15th, at the Apple Valley Community Center from 6 to 7:30. And so if you're interested in providing some feedback about that, feel free to do that. We are planning to make improvements to the Apple Valley Family Aquatic Center this year after the season closes. So the pool will scheduled to open on June 6th and will close the end of August. Construction would start in September, run through the winter and into the spring of 2025, and then reopen again for business in June of 2025. And so swimmers won't lose any time in the pool as long as everything goes as planned. A lot of the improvements we'll be making at the aquatic center involve behind the scenes types of things like replacing filters and boilers and mechanical systems, but there will be some noticeable improvements for users as well. We'll be re-gel coating slides. We'll be creating a theme for the aquatic center, and we are working on renaming the aquatic center as well. So we're excited about all of those projects and the benefits that provides. We are looking at building more pickleball courts in our community. Nick talked about the strength and growth of the pickleball interest, not only in Apple Valley, but across the Twin Cities and across the nation. So we're looking at adding 10 pickleball courts to the existing 8 pickleball courts that we have at Johnny K. Park West. I don't know if we'll be under construction yet this fall. If not this year, we'll do the construction next spring. So again, adding 10 courts to the 8 we already have, so we'll have a total of 18 courts there. And it'll be a great place for people that like pickleball or that are interested in pickleball to come and try it out or find a good game or a tournament or whatever the case might be. So I think I'll probably just leave it at that for now. That's just a brief update on some of the things that are happening with regards to the Parks referendum.
I think it's just a good reminder that there's a lot of things that are happening with the Parks Bond referendum that are in motion, just super exciting. But just again, a reminder that there's a lot of opportunity for all the residents and the public to come in and give their thoughts and their feedback so that those decisions can be made of what we want to see and do in our parks. So
Absolutely.
We want that feedback. And the open houses are a great way to do it. Or again, coming down here and talking with us, always welcome. Anything else on that, Eric?
Nothing else related to the Parks referendum, but we do have, so Steve Rother, our Park Superintendent, is going to provide a brief update. And then when Steve's done, then Jim Zink, our Golf Course Manager, will provide a brief update with things happening at Valleywood. So,
Great.
yeah.
Here's good.
Go up there. Yeah. Or you can sit there. It doesn't matter.
Thanks for coming up front.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. As Eric said, I'm Steve Rother, Park Maintenance Superintendent. You're all aware, spring is in full swing now. So we are plenty busy in my department. Fortunately, we have filled up or are filling up with all of our seasonal staff. Retired people are coming in. As college kids get done, they're coming in to do the work we need. Ball field layout and prep is ongoing to serve the many users, the two athletic associations, high schools, adult leagues, private renters, whoever it may be. Mowing with the recent rains, we're gonna have trouble keeping up the way it's going if it doesn't dry out. And as soon as it does dry out and get warm, it's gonna grow even more. So we'll stay busy with that. Pool prep at both the Aquatic Center and Redwood is going really well, and even probably ahead of schedule from where we usually are. And happy to say we haven't found any big problems yet. Going smoothly. As everything else, we need it to dry out so we can do some of the outside work too to get it prepped. Also, work on the North Creek Greenway that went through cobblestone in the fall. Talked about in the informal a little bit, but restoration work is being done. A lot of irrigation needs to be repaired. Through that whole stretch, all the heads were right on the edge of the asphalt, so a lot of heads are being replaced. But it doesn't appear to be any mainline issues. And with that, a lot of sodding, grass seed will be taking place, some plantings, and that some of the plantings will be maintained by the county as it's their project. They'll also be going into Quarry Point this summer, adding new trails in there. Originally, they were planned to be started in that real soon, but we've got some irrigation and electric that needs to be moved one direction or the other so they can move on with that project. Engineering's helping, or in contact with the county, figuring out what direction they're going with that, but that will be happening this summer. Beyond that, ash tree removals are a big concern in a lot of our parks. Everybody's seeing the orange circles or X's on the trees. Those will be removed. We've got 2 current contracts right now. Natural Resources Department's kind of leading that, and then parks and street or boulevard trees are both on that. 2 different companies, kind of 2 different corners of town right now. They did in the parks what they could while the ground was firm enough. Now that it's rained, they're going back to boulevard trees. So I think there's about 125 park trees in those 2 contracts. So once they get into some of the bigger parks are more heavily populated with ash trees, there'll be a big change. Community Center, the Hayes Park Community Center, I think there's 45 ash trees alone in that park, so that'll be a huge change over there. Beyond that, a lot of volunteer work, or a lot of volunteer groups coming in with the parks. We just had Earth Day, so a lot of groups wanted to help out, clean up some of the parks. very appreciated, as sometimes we have a hard time getting to everything before we mow, so everything's getting cleaned up and put away, so that's what I have tonight. Any questions from the committee?
Steve, of all the turf that you manage and mow, how much of that do you apply fertilizer to? I mean, is it, you don't do every,
No.
I mean, especially if the rain and
Yeah.
you don't really want
Yep, it's hard enough to
encourage
keep up
growth.
with. Yeah, currently, we do some of the more heavily maintained areas, Kelly, Cobblestone, the Aquatic Center. Some of our more premium parks, we do kind of a blanket fertilizing there,
Okay.
as well as the athletic complexes.
Right.
Those get a prescriptive fertilizer depending on what the soil samples kind of dictate that we do. But general park fertilizing, those prices went up, kind of skyrocketed about 4 or 5 years ago, so we couldn't afford to do that, but I think we had overdone it for years, so grass is still growing. It doesn't seem like it's getting weak in a lot of areas, but to answer your questions, majority of it would be on irrigated areas, including the complexes.
Did they get the irrigation at Cobblestone figured out?
Still working on it. It's gonna be I think that's gonna be a long-term process. The contractor that I talked to assumed there's about 1,000 heads along that section that was redone last fall that either needs to be repaired or replaced, and some of those were only watering probably a foot of mowed area, so some of those are gonna be eliminated in certain spots.
Problem I saw last year was when we were watering, it was after 11 o'clock, and that doesn't make us look too good.
No, and they
When we're trying to enforce an ordinance that no watering between, what, 11
Yeah,
and 6 or something?
we don't control the irrigation
No.
at Cobblestone, but the company that does, we have talked to them about it. We've highly encouraged them not to do that, but we know it still happens, and we'll have a conversation with them again this spring to reiterate that.
Especially when they're on during the daytime.
Yeah,
I mean,
yep.
There's breezes and it blows it all over the place, and so if you're walking or doing anything, it's not a good
Yeah,
situation, so.
I completely agree.
So in parks that are more heavily affected by the ash tree removal, like Hayes, are we replanting some of those? I understand that we probably can't go one for one across the city, but I mean, talking about losing 45 trees in Hayes alone is
Yeah,
a large number.
Yeah, with the upcoming work at Hayes with the ball field and everything, we won't plan on doing anything there until that whole concept is done. Some of the other parks though, Lac Lavon, I think we took out, there's 8 trees, we took those out over the winter. The city tree sale didn't fully sell out this year, so the leftover trees, we did replant over at Lac Lavon, and the Public Works took some, planted at the cemetery. We did a couple plantings in a couple of parks also.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I guess my one question for you would be, one, I'm very glad to hear staffing is in a good situation. It kind of sounds like you're getting ahead where you can, which is always a plus. So kudos to that. And then if there's something, that there's a lot of work that you're doing now to get everything ready and we'll be really busy over the summer. What can residents know or do to help with, park maintenance around the city? Like if there was one ask that you would have of residents or people using the parks that would be really helpful to your staff and keeping them the high quality maintenance that everybody enjoys, what would that be?
first thing that pops into my head is just policing themselves. You go into the park, clean up after yourself, I guess. And don't leave your trash everywhere. We have a lot of area to cover, and we can't pick up everything every day that's on the ground. So that definitely helps. I believe all of our parks are adopted through the Adopt a Park program right now. So that also helps when the volunteers come in and clean up throughout the park system too.
Great.
All right.
Thank
Anything
you.
else?
Thanks, Steve.
All right. I'll turn it
Keep up
over
the great
to you.
work.
Madam Chair, the other one that I would add is if people would pick up after their pets. That would be extremely appreciated, because there's an awful lot of people that they're not responsible and they do not pick up after their pets. So that would be a secondary one.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures, and I haven't seen them in our parks, but pictures where people throw their poop bags in the woods, and then it's just a pile of poop bags there. So I really hope that nobody does that, because that's one, disgusting, and not being a good neighbor and a good neighbor. Good ad. All right, Jim, you're up.
And then when Jim's done, Kayla's got some things she wants to share too.
Okay, great.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm Jim Zink, golf course manager. I'm going to be very brief. We've just kind of launched the rocket, if you will. But for you new committee members, this committee and Eric and I, over the last few years, worked on a number of things, redid our golf course business plan. And as part of that, we were able to we had to redo the 48-year-old irrigation system last year. So it was probably one of the biggest projects the golf course would ever undertake. And we could not be happier with how it went. The contractor was great. We were able to do a few course improvements. And it's been great. The energy from the public has been fantastic. We opened the golf course on April 9th for the high school players. We typically open the first day and get all the high school kids out in the afternoon. And then we open for the public on the 10th. Business has been pretty good. We only had about 11 good days in April. So really the last few years we have not had a real good weather-wise start to the year. This week is what we call League Week. So our 18-hole ladies league started Tuesday morning. Our 9-hole men's league started last night. Unfortunately today, our senior league in the morning and our ladies league in the afternoon, not ideal weather. But those are our main leagues. We have about 450 players in league play at Valleywood. Virtually all the leagues are up. The only one that isn't is our Thursday night ladies league, because it is maxed out. That's the biggest league we have. Getting back to the irrigation project could not have happened at a better time for us. I have been at Valleywood for a while, but my assistant to run clubhouse coordinator worked there for part-time for about 10 years, but he's now been full-time 5 years. We have a great superintendent, Ryan Browning, has been there about 6 or 7 years now, and his assistant, who actually worked for us back in college, has been there 4 years. And I don't know if I mentioned Jordan's name, but he's the clubhouse coordinator, Jordan Johnson. So it really couldn't have happened at a better time. There's over 1,000 sprinkler heads. They can run everything, every single head on the course by computer. If it's programmed to run and we get rain, it shuts off. So we'll have a lot better control. Kind of excited over the next couple of years to see how we can integrate all those different controls we have. A couple of things that came up in previous presentations tonight. The concert series we used to have at Valleywood. I think we started that probably about 7 or 8 years ago, a winter concert series to kind of for the winter with Kelly Park being so popular. And to be honest with you, it got too popular. The first year, I think we had 3 concerts each year. The first year we were getting about 80 to 100 people at each of them, which was very nice. The second year, we started to run into some issues. By the third year, we were trying to figure out, do we do some kind of a free ticketing system? We didn't want to get where we were turning people away. And eventually it got to a point where we literally couldn't fit the people in the building. Working with the Arts Foundation, they thought we need to move to a bigger facility, and I think that's where the partnership with Bogarts came in, and all indications are that that's been a great success. Another thing that came up earlier was some of the pricing. As we say, you know, we are a community asset. We provide high school access to the golf course and driving range at very steep discounts. We also host some of their fundraising events in our event space. But one of the things we say is if you play when we want you to play, you'll get a really good price. So we run a twilight pricing in the evening. We run daybreak pricing in the morning that both of our 18-hole ladies and 18-hole senior league can take advantage of. Those prices are almost half price of what we charge Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it's really worked out well. I think maybe 6 years ago, we modified our season pass program so that the passes are restricted. And as a result, the season pass players can play after 11 o'clock on weekends, so we can maximize all that revenue earlier in the day. Another thing that came up was fertilizer and chemical applications. We have a state-of-the-art GPS sprayer. So it's kind of interesting. It's got 25 nozzles across the back of it. And if it runs over an area and then the next pass, each nozzle will shut off as it overlaps. And much like Steve has gone through, the price of this stuff these products has really gotten high. Golf is somewhat on the cutting edge of how we do some of this. So we have started now to use combination products that are both fertilizers, but will also have some of the pest control or, crabgrass control right in it. It's pretty advanced stuff. Some of these products, they're $1,000 for a gallon jug, and you put, 8 ounces into a 300-gallon tank. So we try to be very conscious of all that. We also have natural growth up around all the ponds. We work with pollution control. We have monitors down, what we would call downstream from us. So if anything were to get into the water, we would know. Knock on wood, we have not had any issues in the 10 or 15 years we've been working with those groups. So as I say, we put less contaminant into the water system than a person walking across their driveway with their spreader open once. So we try to be very conscious of those things. But like I say, it's very, very busy time. We're really excited. The energy is fantastic. We're really looking forward to a great year, and we'll have more information at one of your subsequent meetings here. But if there's any questions I can answer, please. Yeah.
Jim, a couple things. As a member of the Apple Valley Rotary Club, we really appreciate you guys offer your big room and that thing to us every Wednesday morning. And I just thought of it yesterday at our meeting. We never ever have an issue working with you guys in that facility. That seems kind of neat and special. It's a good relationship, so thanks for that. The second thing is you mentioned your range just a little bit. That remodel is really something. If you've used to going to a typical driving range, going, boy, this is rotten. You guys have got something going really well there. It's really nice. Thank you.
I appreciate both those comments. It's interesting. As I say, I've been there a while. I mean, I played high school golf there. But my superintendent and I were up by the water tower in like March. We had that nice stretch of 4 or 5 days, and we were up there looking at some of the old netting and stuff, and he finally looked at me and said, "What are you looking at?" And I just can't believe that's the driving range. And we were up there last Thursday with our ladies league. They do what we call a sip and swing kind of kickoff where they can come out for their meeting and I go up and give some tips on the driving range and the number of comments from people. It's really interesting, all the work we did, and so much of it is underground. It's like redoing the plumbing at your house, you know? But that is the most impactful thing for the average user. So I really appreciate the comments. Anything else?
One thing, or a couple things come to mind. I'm really glad to hear that you so carefully monitor the chemical applications. That's really a good thing to hear, because I know that golf as a sport sometimes takes some heat for some of that. So that you're proactive is a good thing. And the other thing, kind of related to that, is when you come back and update us in the fall, I'd be curious to know if you could put a number to like increased efficiency in watering, like how many gallons we saved, how much money that saves, you know, year over year, because that should be a big win for us too. It'd be good to hear a quantity when we get through the season.
That'll be part of your budget, right?
We are very interested to see that. We've already starting to discover some areas that we realized that there were underground leaks, and we just didn't know, you know. So some areas that were wet were not just randomly wet. So it'll be really interesting to see what our water usage report comes in at the end of the year. And we every month we monitor, so we check, and we'll give you an update on how we're doing.
Excellent, thank you.
Anything else?
All right.
Great.
Hearing nothing, people can book their tea times.
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Right now we got Kayla.
Kayla. Hi, Kayla.
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm actually going to stay here if you don't mind, because I will be directing your attentions to the screen in just a moment. But I wanted to provide just a very brief administrative update. As you hear a lot of tonight, and we'll be hearing about a lot in the future, obviously the referendum and its associated projects are a huge part of what we are spending our days working on. So what I wanted to do was draw your attention to the website to kind of highlight a couple things that you, as well as members of the public, can see and show how they can find some more information. So this is our main city webpage. Under the Departments and Services tab, Parks and Recreation, we have a specific link for the Parks Referendum. This should look familiar. We used this as a jumping off point for all of our communication leading up to the referendum itself. But we are also using this as a way to communicate progress on the referendum projects. One of the first areas here that we are updating a lot is this community engagement piece. As we have more projects being developed, we will be reaching out to the community and asking for their feedback. And so with that will be several opportunities to join us at open houses to give feedback in person. So at this page, you will see where some more information on when and where those open houses will be held. And then kind of there's more information on this web page about the referendum process and the projects themselves. But what I really wanted to highlight here was this project progress section. It doesn't look super snazzy yet. We're working on it with our communications team. It's kind of a work in progress here. But if you visit our interactive map by clicking this link, this is where a lot of our information is going to be on progress for the referendum. I know you have all seen this before, but I wanted to bring it to your attention again. At this map and this interface, you and members of the public can search for your park or click on it in the map here, and then it will provide some additional information. A good example here is the Hayes Arena on this side here. So if you select your park and go to this side information, you will see that we've got, and actually it's not showing in the way that I want it to, so that's kind of embarrassing. But we have details written in the text there about what the project is going to look like. As the project continues, we'll have more pictures available, a link to the website as well that will link back to it with more details. As we plan projects, this is going to be fleshed out a lot more with more pictures. Obviously, it's kind of a moving target at this point as we kind of get the lay of the land and work through the design process. But there will be, one thing we really wanted to be transparent about with the community was how much money we're spending and where those dollars are going. So that information will also be here. So just wanted to give you guys a brief update on that. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
This is great, Kayla, and make sure you say thanks to Eve and everybody working on this. I think this is really critical that the public can go and see all the great progress that everybody's been working on for so long, and it will continue to develop and share all the highlights. So thanks for pointing this out and sharing that with us.
Great job.
Yeah. Is there any more staff updates?
There is not.
All right. Any committee updates or from any committee members?
I just want to welcome our 2 new committee members, and remember, you're going to have some fun on this, doing this. Yeah, stick around.
Absolutely. You can see that there's a lot going on, and it's going to be a really exciting year and months to come.
Yeah.
All the great things.
It always is.
Yeah, it's fun. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. This next one is input from committee members on the next agenda.
Sure.
Go ahead.
A couple of notes. You mentioned Rotary and the pickleball tournament. I'm part of the Apple Valley Rotary Club. We've announced our date for our second annual one. Speaking of recreation in the city, that's coming up on August 10th. And we added a new division for raw beginners. It's more of a recreational thing than competitive. People wanted that, and registrations are already piling in, so another great recreation opportunity here in the city. Another one related to cycling and paths and trails. The world's largest bike sale is going to be held next Saturday right here in Apple Valley over at Dix Valley Service next door to Abdallah Chocolates. I'm heavily involved in that, so if anybody's looking for a bike, we've got 500 refurbished bikes for sale. We're the biggest bike shop in the world. We donate all the money to charity, so if you're looking for a bike, ricksbikesale.com. Get a bike, ride it around on Apple Valley's trails.
And that date again is?
Saturday, May 11th, 11 to 3. ricksbikesale.com has everything you need.
Coming up right around the corner.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, that's what you were asking. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. We're good.
This one.
All right. I think input from committee members on next agenda was that okay, we did that?
We're good.
All right, we have come to the end of our agenda. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.